Thanks to Super 7, after 10,000 years, she's free. Here's your look at the brand new Super 7 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita Repulsa Vile Violet Super 7 store exclusive. After being sealed away for 10,000 years, Rita Repulsa has been freed and sets her sights on destroying the nearest planet. Unfortunately, that means Earth. She commands her allies and an unending army of putty patrollers to defeat the Power Rangers by any means necessary. Rita Repulsa looks through her repulsoscope to keep a close eye on her evil creations when battling the Rangers. She wastes no time using her magic wand to make her monsters grow into giant beasts, laying waste to Angel Grove and the Power Rangers. I better move pretty fast, because I see there's an army of putties heading my way. Before we get a closer look, though, at the Super 7 store-exclusive Rita Repulsa Vile Violet, I'd like to first thank the folks over at Super 7 that did kindly provide the sample we could have a look at here. There are some considerable changes with this one versus the earlier Rita Repulsa that they released before. Sadly, though, I don't have the original Rita Repulsa. It was on my to-do list of figures I did want to pick up from Super 7, having delved already deeper into all the other figures that they have been producing. One thing that has sort of overlooked my collection has been the Power Ranger stuff. That will be changing fast. Though, let's grab the tape measure and see how tall the figure stands. Rita Repulsa, in this case, I guess you would count really the end horns of her hair. That gives us a figure that's about 7¼ inches in height, or the figure is going to be about 18 centimeters tall. The color scheme of Rita Repulsa here isn't so much the way that she's depicted in the original series, as that Rita Repulsa would have had more a brown dress versus the purple one that we get here. Though in 1995 there was a tour version of the Power Rangers in which Rita Repulsa was dressed in purple, sort of as the way we see right now. So in some ways you could say it's the tour version of Rita Repulsa, though I really think honestly Vile Violet sounds a little more sinister. Of the accessories that the figure comes included with, most of which are actually the same accessories that got packed with the original Rita before. The only thing, though, it omitted between this one and the one released before was actually her repulsoscope, her big telescope that she would be looking down on the planet Earth to see how well her putties and giant monsters were doing. Usually they weren't doing so well. So that's one thing, unfortunately, that does get axed this time around, but pretty much all the other accessories are still the ones that are packaged with the other earlier Rita, with, again, some color changes. We're going to kind of go through each of these individually. First of all, she comes included with her glass. The glass itself this time around is filled with a red liquid. I think the other one was maybe filled with a purple or even green liquid, but this time around we actually get a red liquid. The glass itself can be held in her hand, not really the closed fist that she has right now, but she has suitable hands really for holding any one of the accessories, like this hand, for example, here, which we'll talk more about, obviously, of the detailing that they applied to each of the fingers. Each hand, by the way, does have their notable rings, silver and gold alternating, you can see on each one of Rita's fingers, as well as they've taken the time and luxury of painting in the additional purple nails. Really nice touches on their part. But she does come included with the wine glass. It's sometimes a little harder to get this. I don't know if that kind of looks a little bit like a martini glass. Not that I'm an expert at martinis, but we're going to go ahead and put that to the side. The figure also comes included with a perfume bottle. This perfume bottle notably is a little bit more violet in color, living, I'm sure, up to the namesake of Vile Violet. The original release was kind of more of a bluish color, and I think the top was a little bit more of a darker gold, but she comes included with her perfume bottle as well. Still, she gets included this stone. Now, notably, though, the stone here is colored in red, translucent red, as you can see in my hand waving behind it. The original Rita's stone came included with the other Rita was actually more green. Still sticking with the color of green, the figure, while not dropping it to start a fire anywhere, she comes also with her candelabra and candle. Oh, you can already see it's been dripping some wax. The original candle would have had a gold candelabra, and it would have also had the candle being more in green rather than the red that we get here. So it isn't simply just the case, as you've already seen, that they've just used and packed the same accessories. They have, in a sense, that they are using the same molds. I keep dropping the candelabra. They are using, of course, the same mold when it comes to these accessories. but they are changing at least the colors. So at least it feels from a mileage standpoint, even though the molds are being used again, you're at least feeling as if you're getting something different with a different color scheme. As already mentioned, she comes included with a whole bunch of series of hands. Now, right now, she has closed fist hands in her sockets. Those aren't going to be doing much of anything. So she comes with some gripping hands, and you can see like how just adorned each of the fingers are with individual rings. And each finger ring, including a thumb, has all been very meticulously painted. As well as, again, you can see as well, both the fingers and thumb ring have all been nicely painted in a lighter purple. She comes included with those. She comes included with a slightly more wider grip. And then she also comes with, again, just a slightly more varied, a little more closer of a grip, ideally suited for holding her staff. Of course, one of the big notable things about Rita Repulsa is she wants to make her monsters grow. So she then just throw her staff down on the planet. I don't even know, did they ever really have an episode where it would show how she retrieved her staff? Maybe they did. Anyway, she does come with her staff. The staff, though, in the original release of Rita Repulsa, while this is mostly still the same, this would have been down below here, kind of more of a greenish color. In this case, this time around, the stones have been replaced from an emerald green to kind of a nice violet purple instead, as well as this little spike on the side. I do like the touch, again, the fact that they included a chain. It's always nice that they use a real working chain. She does also have chains actually on her bracelets as well, which is unfortunately one problem with the figure when it comes to swapping out her hands. Speaking, though, of the hands, again, like she has the right suitable hands, even though I really was looking at this and I thought there would be no real way that she'd be able to hold the staff properly. If you get about to, let me just get the hand in here. If you get about to the mid section here, I mean, the staff sits really loose. If you have it actually far enough down to about here, then she actually holds the staff fairly well. Or also here as well, you sort of have the weight and gravity sort of working in your favor. She can also hold the staff that way too. I'll pop the hands out in a second here and you'll see exactly what I mean. So we'll put that to the side. Let's pick the figure up right now. Full disclosure, by the way, I did actually add a display stand. I just happen to have dropped right now. The figure's feet being small in profile, she doesn't have actually really enough real estate space to really properly stand. You kind of have to lean her a little bit further forward. I do wish in a case like Rita Repulsa here could have come included with a display stand. Just for balancing purposes, it's just a lot easier than me having to worry about. She does have also a wire frame. I just dropped her head here. She does have a wire frame on the bottom of a dress, but still that really doesn't help to aid to get the figure to stand properly. Because again, like if you look at the sizing of her feet, only matched, I'm sure, by the Wicked Witch of the East. Was that the evil sister? Tiny little feet, tiny little feet. It is very much difficult to get the figure to stand properly, so I'm just using a black display stand for right now, just attaching onto the bottom of it, and that'll be more than enough to get the figure to stand. Okay, so I did mention the fact that the figure does have swappable hands. One thing you will want to be careful of, though, see how she's got these bracelets. The bracelets, first of all, have these little strips of plastic. That's the way they're designed in the series as well. The only thing about it, though, is anytime you're twisting the hand, it's usually prone to twisting these or bending these little strips of plastic. Of course, when it comes to removing the hands, I find it's easy first not to really hold onto the bracelet and just sort of wiggle the hand, because you're never really going to be able to do it properly. But I find rather instead, if you hold the bracelet and you hold the hand at the same time, and you wiggle them both off at the same time, just like so, then from there, just go ahead and put the figure down here for a second. You want to make sure you remove the bracelet, and you want to make sure, of course, you're not going to lose that. Take the hand then you want to use. Let's grab, what was the hand I was going to be using for the staff? I think it was this hand here. Let's just slide the post of the hand, or at least the peg of the hand, back in place, and then pop it from there back into the forearm. Now, I can't think that there would be an easier way to do this, because they could have really attached the bracelet onto the end of the forearm, but considering for the fact that the bracelet would only have sticking out parts to it anyways, I don't think there would be an easy way other than just having it as a separate piece. The only thing about it, though, is it being a separate piece. I want to make sure I got the hand all the way in there. By it being a separate piece, there's always the worry, of course, that that bracelet's going to fall off, and that's the case actually on both sides. She's got these real chained bracelets. They look great, but just be careful, though, when you are changing out the hands, that the bracelet doesn't fall and you don't lose it somewhere on the floor. And then, of course, from there, you can take yourself the staff. The staff just attaches into her hand. There we go. And again, like, you can have it a little further down. I mean, just really having it resting against the top of it. I guess it gives her about the same height as where she would have had it in the series. Or again, you can also have it a little bit higher up here as well. So that's all the accessories that come included with Rita Repulsa, short of one extra thing. And of course, the other thing being, I want to just make sure I got the hand all the way in there. I don't want to have the bracelet falling off, though, in the course of this review. Is it all the way on there? I hope it's all the way on there. The other thing that she comes included with as well is a smiling face. Now, I don't know if it would be so much a smiling as she's proud of herself and all her accomplishments, or it's more the face of defeat. Like she just realized that the Power Rangers had defeated another one of her giant beasts. The cost of producing those monsters, I got to think, do tally up after a while. I don't know what she's really declaring for taxes, but I got to think she's spending a lot on all those extra monsters, only to have them being blown up by the Power Rangers. So there's sort of this head sculpt, and then there's the more mad-looking Rita Repulsa, which is really, again, no different from the original Rita that we did get, or I didn't get the chance to get, but have been at least released before from Super7. So, again, you can either go this route, or again, you can go with the crazier-looking Rita Repulsa. I like this one a little bit more. Head sculpt-wise, they're very similar, other than just the facial expression. I'd be safe to assume that they probably did use the exact same mold for at least from a headdress piece, and they probably just then molded the faces and probably just popped those in place. I don't know if... I'm guessing it's probably a case where the faceplate was something that they molded separately and then they popped into an otherwise identical head sculpt. But if you did want to see what it looked like, let's just go ahead and pop the head off right now. Being careful, of course, of her little collar piece here. It's pretty spiky, but we're going to go ahead and pop the head back in place. And again, like there's sort of this head sculpt, which again, I'm torn as to think whether that's just happy Rita or it's disappointed Rita. Either way, though, the colors are really nicely handled here. The headdress piece, or the hair that she would have had on the original release, would have been more of a darker gray. And then, like, sort of the wrappings here, instead of being purple, would have been a dark brown to sort of match the outfit of colors that she had. The original outfit would have been, again, brown, would have had, again, the gold trim. This has been very nicely and very colorfully swapped out for a very vibrant purple and equally vibrant red trim that she has along the bottom here as well. This piece, sort of her bra piece, is actually a separate plastic piece that they put over top of her regular costume. So while this is being a material, this is actually a plastic that they sort of put over top. It doesn't look like it removes. I mean, obviously they would have probably had to take the body and sort of put it together around this. And of course she's got then the back skirting there, this... I was kind of really wondered what this was. Sort of like a feathering skirting that she had on the back of her dress. But all in all, it's a really nice looking figure. It's more compelling for me now to even go back and now try to track down the original Rita Repulsa, seeing how well they really have handled this version of Rita, the Vile Violet version. For the articulation on Rita Repulsa, going back to her head sculpt, it is on a ball joint after all, so it does rotate back and forth, up and down. But I find, though, it's always a hard thing to get the head properly onto the ball joint. Whenever I think I've got it all the way on there, any time that I seem to be moving the head around, it seems to pop back out of place. I have to make sure I get that properly in place, though. Head does move up or back, does move also again forward. The upper torso is on a ball joint. The only thing about it, though, is obviously like the back of this is all hard plastic. So when you are rotating the body, you always sort of feel like this is, well, it's obviously going to be getting in the way of things. Arms go forward, the arms go back. They also move out also as well. She has a single hinge, it seems, only in the elbow. And the hands also rotate back and forth. Just, though, be careful. These extra little pieces of plastic sticking out. As for the legs, I'm just going to lift up the skirt just enough to show you that her legs do have a ball joint. Sorry. Legs go forward, legs go back. There is a mild swivel at the top of the thigh, still only possessing a single hinge in the knee, but at least the lower leg rotates back and forth. And there's also a hinge up and down this way, as well as back and forth this way as well. All in all, a really nice looking Rita Repulsa. If I had the original, I feel like I would be more compelled to be, like if I had the choice, I think I would still want to get the original Rita Repulsa, simply just because, again, like that's the way that she looks in the cartoon series. But I gotta say, though, like the purple works really well for this particular mold, even making me more interested now to go and try to track down that original Rita Repulsa, as well as the rest of the Power Ranger Ultimate figures that Super7 have done so far. The only thing about this figure, not only is a color swap of not only the costume that she wears, but also the accessories. But sadly, unfortunately, one thing gets lost in here, and it's not just a big giant monster that gets defeated once again by the Power Rangers, but she also loses her rotoscope, or her Repulsa scope, that big telescope that she has. That's also something that was packaged with the original figure that doesn't unfortunately get repeated again with the Rita Repulsa Vile Violet figure that we looked at now. Wow, Rita Repulsa is a few moments away from making her monster grow. It's never going to work, Rita Repulsa. You're only just going to lose the staff. Does she just have really like a storage locker that just has multiple staffs, though she never really has to worry about retrieving them? I lost another one. I'm going to have to go to the storage cabinet and get another. And she's just got like rows upon rows of the same staff. Maybe there was an episode where it showed how she retrieved the staff, but more times than not, she usually was just throwing it down to the planet. It was sort of just, of course, increasing the size of the monsters, and the monsters were always getting defeated by the hands of the Power Rangers. I really like the color scheme of this one, though not necessarily show accurate. If you, though, already had the Rita Repulsa, which I'm still looking to get myself, I think this is a really nice addition. It's using, though, all of the same accessories as the original Rita before, but at least it changes the color scheme, so it doesn't feel like, oh, we already had the candelabra, oh, we already had the stones, we already had the perfume bottle. You did, but you didn't have it in the color scheme that gets presented with this figure release. Again, this one, though, is a Super7 store exclusive, so if you guys are interested in get this one for yourself, you can click the link down below in the video description. Big thank you once again to the folks over at Super7 that did kindly provide the sample of the brand new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita Repulsa Violet version. If you guys have had the chance to pick up this figure, let me know down below in the comment section what you think of it. Or even a better question to ask you guys. If you already have the original Rita Repulsa based more on the series, could you see yourselves venturing off to get the purple version of her? Let me know down below in the comment section. Also, as well, if you guys enjoyed this video, I want to hit with a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing, and you certainly do want to stick around for more, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification. As well, popping up at the very end of this video, will be, of course, as always, a playlist. This time around, it's a playlist for Super7. So if you want to see more stuff from Super7 that the guy behind the camera's already done, feel free, if you have a little bit of time, check out that playlist. Of course, as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.